Chelsea fans, what a performance that was. Chelsea destroyed Aston Villa 3-0 to keep ourselves in the top 3 of the Premier League. Now, we are currently level with Arsenal on absolutely everything, so if Man City lose to Liverpool tonight, it will make the next few weeks very interesting. The last 3 times that Aston Villa have played Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, the results have not gone our way, but today, we flipped the script and got a dominating 3-0 victory. Today's performance was near on perfect, but there were a lot of positives that I want to talk about. So in this video, we're going to go over the 5 things that we learned from Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 0. Did you know that 90% of the people watching this video right now are currently not subscribed to the channel? So make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you're a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. Make sure you join the community and let's get into the video. The first thing that I want to talk about is Enzo Maresca's tactics. They were flawless today. They were spot on. Every single player had a role and a job to do, and they executed it perfectly, from goalkeeper all the way up to the centre forward. Now, there were a lot of questions over the starting lineup about Caicedo playing right back. Will he invert? Are we starting with a back 3? And what we saw was Caicedo playing that right back role where we were out of possession and then inverting into them double 6 positions when we were in possession. This is something he's done a few times at Brighton, and I think he did maybe once or twice under Pochettino last season, but it's something we're not really used to seeing. Now, I'm going to be honest, if Enzo Maresca wants to do that going forward for certain games, I am fully behind it, because the way that Moises Caicedo played today was absolutely outstanding. He has solidified himself, to me, as the best DM in the league. Like, he is versatile, you can play him anywhere, and he just understands the role and gets the job done. His tackling was flawless, his distribution was insane, some of the long balls he was playing, even the recoveries. He had a flawless game, and he was playing right back at times, and even when he was in that right back position, I did not worry about him one single bit. He absolutely crushed it today. Another thing that surprised a lot of people is Noni Madueke was dropped on that right-hand side, and we started Neto and Sancho. And to be fair, it worked very, very well. I think it gave us a completely different dynamic having Sancho on the left, Neto on the right. And Noni Madueke did come on later in the game and grab himself an assist, but the dynamic shifted very quickly when he was playing. That's not to say that Noni Madueke shouldn't start ever again. I'm just saying that in today's game against Villa, everyone had their job to do. Everyone delivered exquisitely. The way that Enzo Maresca set the team up, it allowed for Caicedo, Enzo, and Lavia to all be involved in this team. The second thing I want to talk about is Nicholas Jackson and how clinical he has become. What a transformed player. I have said this in many videos in previous weeks, whether it's on YouTube or on TikTok. This guy is slowly becoming my favourite Chelsea player. A lot of people were wrong about him last season, even though he had a great return of 14 non-Premier League goals. This season, he scored 8 Premier League goals and got 3 assists before Christmas. That takes him to 11 GA in 12 games. He is level on goals with Cole Palmer. We know how crazy Cole Palmer's levels are. The goal that he scored today was such a tidy finish. It was a sweep across the goal with his left foot right into the corner, in off the post. Martinez is a very good keeper and he had no chance saving it. And it looked so natural to Jackson when he took on that shot. If you look at the replay of Jackson's goal, the ball actually takes a deflection and comes off of the ground. And Jackson is initially wanting it on the ground and does very, very well in them split-second decisions, almost instinctively, to adjust his body and get the finish away. And it's such a great start to the game. Now, admittedly, Jackson did have a couple other chances this game, which he could have scored on another day, but didn't in this game. But I'm telling you, he is becoming incredibly clinical, and he's transformed himself as Chelsea's main number 9. The third thing that I want to talk about is Caicedo, Lavia, and Enzo as a trio works incredibly well. And today was a perfect example of how well that trio can work together. Admittedly, Caicedo was at the right back position, but I think that was part of the plan, part of the tactics to allow these 3 players to play together. Because when Caicedo inverted, you had Caicedo and Lavia in them double 6 positions, which we know is incredibly solid defensively. It breaks up the attacks and the counters and the press from the opposition. The distribution these guys have is also fantastic. But what it also allowed is Enzo Fernandez a free role to get forward, join into them attacks a bit more. He could obviously come back and help out if needed, and he did a few times. But this trio, on paper, everyone was like, that's amazing. That's your midfield trio. You win. Like, they're incredible if it works. The only problem I thought we were going to have is time within the season to test these 3 out to see how it would work. But again, Enzo Maresca got his tactics spot on. These 3 players knew exactly what they were doing. They knew the game plan. They've had a little bit longer to play together now. And honestly, they were flawless. Lavia was solid defensively. Caicedo was absolutely everywhere with ball recoveries, just defending in general, and also getting forward. The guy's got an incredible engine on him. And Enzo Fernandez, He played exceptionally well today. Got himself another goal. That's 2 goals in 2 games. He's finding some form, and we'll talk about that in a little bit in the video. But these 3 worked incredibly well together, and you just can't fault it. The fourth thing that I want to talk about is Robert Sanchez and the clean sheet. I'm putting these together because they work hand in hand. Robert Sanchez needs to be tested, because today was a stark difference to how he normally performs. He was fantastic today. Again, flawless. I don't know how many times I said flawless in this video, but he was flawless today. His saves were fantastic. He had a one-on-one chance with Ollie Watkins, kept us in the game. He had repeatable saves. He was good when he was collecting the ball. His distribution was fantastic today. It was everything we expect and want from Robert Sanchez. There was no silly mistakes. I watched him the whole game, just like a lot of you guys did. I counted 1 misplaced pass. 1 misplaced pass. That is such a difference for someone like Robert Sanchez, who does have mistakes in him. I think he watched Jorgensen's midweek performance and went, oh, I'm on thin ice here. I need to step up and perform. And he did. And this is what I will always say. I'm incredibly fair in terms of giving criticism and giving people flowers. I have berated Sanchez for most of the season for all the stupid things that he's done in terms of decision making, some of the saves that he could have made, but, you know, it is what it is on the day, and his distribution. But today, I've got nothing but good things to say about Sanchez. Even when he was becoming the sweeper keeper, and the ball was in them areas where you think, oh, are you going to come out, you're not? Very demanding. Come out, dive in headers, coming out, collecting the ball. He was superb today. And if he can perform like that week in, week out, he is a really good keeper who will transform our defence even more. It looks like Colwill, Fofana and Sanchez are building that relationship a lot more. At times, it looks like Colwill and Fofana don't really trust Sanchez, but he works well with that back four that's consistent. And obviously, having Caicedo added in at right back is someone he's not usually playing there. He also covered very well. Cucurella was fantastic, as he always was. He's got such a high standard now. For me, the best left back in the league currently. He works well with Sanchez too, always offering him an option, which I think just put Sanchez's mind at ease. I can't remember any other misplaced pass that was sort of unintentional, you know, whether you didn't have an option and he clears it or whatnot. But his all-round game today was fantastic, and he deserves his flowers. Also, it's the clean sheet side of things. It's very rare that Chelsea get a clean sheet this season, so we have to highlight when we do. We got one midweek, we got one today. That's 2 in a week. That's 2 clean sheets in a week for Chelsea. We have to take those. And before we get into the last thing we learned from Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 0, I do have some honourable mentions. The first one is Levi Colwill. I feel like he deserves a honourable mention for today because he was unbelievable. Solid defensively, very vocal, showing his leadership skills. But the one thing that I was highlighting and want to highlight about Levi Colwill is the amount of last-ditch challenges and good tackles he made, where normally Colwill and Fofana are susceptible to lunging in too early, missing the ball and leaving gaps in our back four. But today they were flawless. Their partnership is developing week by week. It's getting better and better, and they're becoming more and more solid. But today, Levi Colwill made 2 off-the-line clearances. Now, I essentially weren't on the line specifically, but open goal, he needed to make those challenges, and he did. He was in the right place at the right time, and he made the clearances to help us keep the clean sheet. And that also contributed to, obviously, Robert Sanchez keeping his clean sheet, making the saves, and brings that defensive unit together. More unity, more leadership. We absolutely love that, and I just felt like it should be highlighted. My second honourable mention is Enzo Fernandez. He is really starting to find form in a Chelsea shirt. I said this maybe in the last video or the video before, it may even been a preview, but it needs to be highlighted. This guy has found a new lease of life under Enzo Maresca in recent weeks. I'd probably stretch it to a month where we've seen him getting better game by game, but now we just seem to be seeing the Enzo Fernandez that we bought. He's creating a lot. He's scoring goals. 2 goals in the last 2 games. It's something that we've not seen from Enzo since he's signed. He's getting involved with play a lot more. He's had more of a free role. Enzo Maresca and Enzo Fernandez are starting to develop this relationship where they know what's best for each other, and it's correlating on the pitch. I understand that Enzo Fernandez has gone through a lot in his personal life and things off of the pitch. I get that, and that has played an effect on his performances on the pitch. But recently, it has to be highlighted, Enzo Fernandez is finding form at Chelsea after the signing of him nearly a couple of years ago, and it's so nice to see. He looks genuinely happy, and hopefully it continues and we can see this player evolve game by game, and he's going to be an absolute world beater if he continues like this. And the 5th thing that I want to talk about is Cole Palmer. This guy is inevitable, and we are running out of ways to describe him. We know how good Cole Palmer is. That is not what I want to spend this time in the video saying, as how good he is. I mean, he's exceptional. He's best player in the league in my eyes. But a goal and an assist for him. Now, this may be a bit of a hot take, but for me, I thought he had a relatively quiet game compared to his standards, but he still influenced the game in so many ways, connecting up the links of play, getting himself an assist in the first half. Like, it wasn't the Cole Palmer show today because everyone played so well, but the finish for his goal, unbelievable. No keeper was saving that. The keeper was rooted. It was like, oh, wow. Okay, just put it in the top bins if you want. Unreal. And the thing that kind of backs it up with Palmer is at Stamford Bridge, he's played 23 games. He has scored 22 goals and got 6 assists. This guy is a freak of nature. He is an absolute freak of nature. And if we didn't have him, then, we all know that how much we would crumble. But this season, he's had to adapt his game with a new manager in a new system. And yes, he's had some tough weeks where he's had quieter games. Still played okay, but, had quieter games. He's had games where he's run riot, like against Brighton, for example, and even against Wolves, and he got 3 assists for Noni's hat-trick. It's kind of been ebbs and flows and not this consistent uprise that we saw a lot of last season. And that's expected. That's going to happen. Teams are going to start doubling up on Cole Palmer now. They're going to block out that central area of the pitch, as I keep mentioning, to just nullify him. But now that Enzo Maresca has adapted the system, Cole Palmer is now playing in that role a lot more and learning more about that role. We've seen how many reports of Enzo Maresca and Palmer working together off the pitch to try and so Palmer can understand different ways to adapt his game, because he's normally playing wider and then drifting in, because central role is where Maresca wants him all the time, and you can see why, because he's just that good. Today was just unreal by Cole Palmer, so influential, and he was one of those names that wasn't really spoken about too much. He did have some good runs, getting forward, driving the ball forward and passing the ball on. But between his assist and the goal, obviously, there was a lot of minutes in between. But I feel like so many other players played exceptionally well that it was like a big team effort. But Cole Palmer put the cherry on top today with that goal. It was absolutely unbelievable. Nicholas Jackson and Cole Palmer are level on goals in the current Premier League standings. And that's just something amazing to see before Christmas. And if this continues, we genuinely have a very, very potent and creative and strong partnership between them that are going to score goals and assist goals. And that just makes Chelsea so frightening going forward. But those are the 5 things that we learned, plus some honourable mentions from Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 0. Do you agree with my analysis with these things that we learned, or do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you did get to this part of the video, a thumbnail will appear on the screen. If you're a Chelsea fan or you love Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.